Why am I so insistent upon giving out to them that blackness, that black power, that black pushing them to identify with black culture? I have no choice over it. In the first place, to me, we are the most beautiful creatures in the whole world. Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past rooted in pain, I rise, bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave. And so, naturally, there I go rising.
Picture in your mind an open heart surgery. Did you imagine the surgeon to be a Black woman?
As a Black woman, are there more challenges? Absolutely. It was just assumed that I was not the surgeon.
I would walk into a room and you would get, when is the real surgeon coming to see me?
Every stereotype, I was not supposed to make it.
I had never seen a doctor before I went to college, and you can't be what you can't see.
In 2016, a Delta flight attendant rejected Dr. Tamika Cross's offer to help a sick patient. The flight attendant questioned whether she was really a doctor. Dr. Tamika Cross is an OBGYN in Houston, but she also happens to be young and Black. Another doctor on board was allowed to help. He was older and white. It seems that this is a regular occurrence where people are either shocked that a Black woman is a doctor or even fail to believe it's true. Dr. Tamika Cross's experience highlights a major problem in our society. People simply are not aware that, yes, Black women are indeed doctors. We tell children that they can be anything they want to be: an engineer, a scientist, a surgeon, president, anything, as long as they work hard enough. But yet Black women in the medical field continue to face difficult challenges simply based on their race. They continue to be overlooked, unrewarded, unrecognized, and remain unsung heroes. What's sadder is that in order to learn about Black women in the medical field throughout history, you really have to do some digging. Not because they don't exist, because they really do. There's a lot. But because the mainstream media simply doesn't seem to care or give Black women their rightful accolades. Dr. Claudia L. Thomas, the first Black woman orthopedic surgeon, stated, "You can't be who you can't see. Black children need to see doctors of color in order to know they too can be doctors." Over the last 3 centuries, Black women have overcome racial, sexist, and political barriers to succeed in a profession dominated by white and Asian men. I asked a friend of mine, who comes to your mind when I say name a famous Black woman throughout history in the medical field? She thought about it and responded, all they ever taught me at school in regards to that was about Florence Nightingale. Florence Nightingale was a white British nurse. But what if I told you there was a greater, unsung, hidden hero? But because she was not only a woman, but a Black woman, she was hidden away and not to be spoken of. A Black woman that got herself out to the war by her own efforts and at her own expense, risked her life to bring comfort to the wounded and dying soldiers, and became the first Black woman to make her mark on British public life. But while Florence Nightingale has gone down in history and become a legend, Mary Seacole was relegated to obscurity. Mary Seacole was born in Kingston, Jamaica in 1805. In 1851, she moved to the United Kingdom and saved her first cholera patient and gained extensive knowledge of the pathology of this disease, which she herself contracted and recovered from. She was widely praised for her work in treating cholera and returned to Jamaica in 1853, where there was a yellow fever epidemic. The medical authorities came to her to provide nurses to care for the sick soldiers. She traveled again to London, where she heard about the Crimean War and how the nursing system there had collapsed. She made application after application to the War Office, the Army Medical Department, and the Secretary of War to be allowed to go to the Crimea and tend to the sick and wounded. She pointed out that she had extensive experience, excellent references, and knew many of the soldiers and regiments, having nursed them while they were stationed in Jamaica. But she was turned away by everybody, including one of Florence Nightingale's assistants. Was it possible, she asked herself, that American prejudices against color had taken root here? Did these ladies shrink from accepting my aid because my blood flowed beneath a somewhat darker skin than theirs? But unperturbed, Mary decided to do it herself. She decided to raise funds and go out there and help the wounded and ill soldiers, whether the government wanted her help or not. Mary Seacole proceeded to help thousands of soldiers. But sadly, after all Mary Seacole had done, Britain soon forgot about her and only praised Florence Nightingale. The contributions of Black female doctors and nurses must never be taken for granted. There is no way to know how many human lives have been saved or improved through the efforts of these amazing Black women, who not only shouldered the immense responsibility of learning, but also had to overcome societal prejudice. Their efforts are more than worthy of celebration every single day and should definitely be known by all. Their names should be the first names that pop up into your head when we talk about women in the medical field. Here are just a few pioneers in the medical field that should not only make Black women proud, but make all of us proud and thankful. Patricia Bath was the first Black woman to complete a residency in ophthalmology and the first Black female doctor to receive a patent for a medical invention. Born in 1942 in Harlem, New York, Patricia became a pioneer in the treatment and prevention of blindness. She also advocated for eyesight as a basic human right by founding the American Institute for the Prevention of Blindness in 1976. Mary Mahoney, the first Black woman to complete nurses training in 1879. Subsequently, she became one of the first Black members of the American Nurses Association, as well as a member of the newly founded National Association of Colored Graduate Nurses. In addition to her pioneering efforts in nursing, Mary Mahoney has been credited as one of the first women to register to vote in Boston, following the ratification of the 19th Amendment granting women's suffrage on August 26, 1920. Mary M. Daly is best known for being the first Black woman to receive a PhD in chemistry in the United States. Mary was born on April 16, 1921, in Queens, New York. The pioneering scientist was the first Black woman to receive a PhD in chemistry in the United States, and her groundbreaking work helped clarify how the human body works. Mary graduated with honors in 1942, and to get around the fact that she didn't have much money for graduate school, landed work as a lab assistant at her old college as well as a hard-earned fellowship. Both were instrumental in helping her to cover the costs of getting a graduate degree in chemistry from New York University. At Columbia, Mary took to the lab studying how the body's chemicals help digest food. She finished her doctorate, unknowingly making history as the first Black woman to receive a PhD in chemistry in the United States in 1947. Fascinated by the human body's complicated inner workings, Mary landed a grant in 1948 from the American Cancer Society. This was the start of a 7-year research program at the Rockefeller Institute of Medicine, where Dr. Mary Daly examined how proteins are constructed in the body. In 1955, Mary returned to Columbia working closely with Dr. Quentin B. Deming on the causes of heart attacks. Their groundbreaking work, which was later relocated to the Albert Einstein College of Medicine at Yeshiva University in New York, disclosed the relationship between high cholesterol and clogged arteries. That work opened up a new understanding of how foods and diet can affect the health of the heart and the circulatory system. In 1934, when 25-year-old Helen Octavia Dickens graduated with an MD degree from the University of Illinois College of Medicine, she was the only Black woman in her class. In 1948, Dr. Dickens became the director of the Mercy Douglas Hospital Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology in Philadelphia. In 1950, she became the first Black female fellow of the American College of Surgeons. Dr. Dickens also taught at the University of Pennsylvania as an instructor and then a professor. Physician Regina Benjamin worked as the 18th U.S. Surgeon General, appointed by former President Barack Obama in 2009. In 1990, Regina Benjamin established the Bayou La Batre Rural Health Clinic, which serves a fishing coastal community on the Gulf Coast, whose citizens have often been unable to access appropriate health care due to lack of insurance and financial constraints. As a community clinician, Regina Benjamin allowed patients to pay whatever they could in whatever form and took on a variety of expenses from her own pocket. She has also been a model of perseverance, with the clinic needing to be rebuilt multiple times after Hurricane George, Hurricane Katrina, and a fire. In 1981, Alexa Kennedy became the first Black female neurosurgeon in the United States. Dr. Alexa Kennedy specialized as a pediatric neurosurgeon and served as chief of neurosurgery at the Children's Hospital in Michigan from 1987 to 2001. Dr. Kennedy's research in neurosurgical techniques resulted in the invention of a programmable anti-siphon shunt, which is used to treat excess fluid in the brain. Dr. Alexic said, "The greatest challenge I faced in becoming a neurosurgeon was believing it was possible." Dr. Rebecca Lee Crumpler was the first black woman to earn a medical degree. She was the first black female physician in the U.S. She was born in 1831 and worked as a nurse in Massachusetts before applying to the New England Female Medical College in 1860. She graduated in 1864, becoming the first and only black graduate of that institution. She devoted her life to improving health in the black community through research and clinic work. When the Civil War ended, she realized that whole communities of newly freed blacks in the South would urgently need medical care. So she left her Boston home and medical practice and moved to Richmond, Virginia to help her brothers and sisters. The unapologetically outspoken Jocelyn Elders was appointed the first black and second female of any race as Surgeon General by former President Bill Clinton in 1993, and subsequently asked to resign when the administration took exception to Jocelyn Elders' outspoken advocacy of early sex education, drug education, and distribution of contraception in schools. Dr. Elders spent many years teaching medicine and was an accomplished pediatric endocrinologist. She remains a voice of progressive ideas in medicine and education. Dr. Mary Seacole was the first black woman admitted to the U.S. astronaut training program. She became the first black woman in space on September 12, 1992, as a member of the Space Shuttle Endeavour's crew. She earned her MD in 1981 from Cornell University Medical College and worked in private practice before becoming a teaching research physician with the Peace Corps in Sierra Leone and Liberia. She was one of 15 candidates chosen out of 2,000 applicants for admission to astronaut training in 1987. Dr. Jane Cook Wright was the first black female president of the New York Cancer Society. Dr. Jane Cook Wright's father set the bar pretty high by being one of the first blacks to graduate from Harvard Medical School, the first black doctor on staff at a New York City municipal hospital, and New York's first black police surgeon. However, Jane Cook Wright successfully emulated his example. In 1964, former President Lyndon Johnson appointed her to the President's Commission on Heart Disease, Cancer, and Stroke. In 1967, at the age of 48, Wright became a professor of surgery, head of the cancer chemotherapy department, and associate dean at New York Medical College. These accomplishments made her the highest-ranking black woman at a nationally recognized medical institution. In 1971, Dr. Wright also became the first female president of the New York Cancer Society. So the next time someone tells you that you can't do something, remember that there have been amazing black women before you that have proved them all wrong. You may not get recognition for your hard work. You may face a multitude of barriers and prejudice, but you will always remember these are part of the reasons why you are amazing. And we're aiming to change this pattern. Let's get the word out and educate everyone on all of these amazing black women. I'd also like you to check out an incredible documentary called Black Women in Medicine by Crystal Emery, who's helping to change the face of medicine. Peace, love, and coconut oil.
Hey man, that's racist. Please remember that from now on, brand new never-before-seen videos, as well as live streams, will only be available on my website, ikyg.com, via a Patreon subscription. ikyg.com is a Black-owned, Black-ran platform, 100% free from censorship. It's the only place where we don't have to worry about what we say and expressing ourselves. Make sure you check out the description and the comment section for important links, as well as information in video form that shows you what benefits you get when you support the site and join my Patreon. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, then don't forget to subscribe and be notified every time I upload a video. For exclusive content and perks, check out my Patreon. This is where we have private live streams, group chats, live Q&As, live phone calls, and open topics. This is a safe space where you can interact with other like-minded people, make friends, send each other direct private messages, and so much more without any trolls. And yes, you get to use GIFs and images in the live chats. So what are you waiting for? This is a completely independent website, free from censorship. If you'd like to make a donation towards the site so we can continue to put out the truth without fear of being silenced, then please hit that donation button. It's greatly appreciated. Check out the rest of the site for videos, private and public live streams, find out all the tea, and make sure to utilize the Black Money section of the website. Advertise your business absolutely free to people that look like you, free forever. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at angel_IKYG.